For those who don't know, there's a rumor going around that may possibly be true that Tyre Nichols potentially lost his life over a woman. Apparently, one of the 5 officers named Demetrius Haley had a baby mom that actually worked at FedEx with Tyre Nichols, and it's a possibility that Tyre was dating his baby mama. And even though this may seem like a petty situation, this is actually a real thing that needs to be talked about. There's thousands of women out here who had a relationship with a man, had a child, broke up, and now, due to them having a child together, she is having problems being able to move on because of the baby daddy not wanting another man around his child. And yes, this happens with women also. The woman can have a child with a man and his child's mother gets salty about him moving on and doesn't let him see his child. That also happens. But when the child's father gets jealous and doesn't want her to move on, it's usually a situation that can turn into something violent, just like this situation. So going back to Demetrius Haley, apparently after Tyre Nichols was assaulted, Demetrius allegedly took pictures of Tyre and sent those pictures to his baby mama to let her know in the future what can happen to any man that she may allow around her and his son. But like I said, this is bigger than just this situation. Thousands of women are afraid to move on with other men due to their exes thinking that the woman is still his property. Women are not our property, whether we're with the woman or not with the woman. In a lot of cases, whether it's a marriage or a relationship, the man usually loves the woman more than the woman loves the man. Regardless of how you see the woman acting and the man acting, behind the scenes, a breakup affects a man way worse than it affects a woman. So when she leaves the man and she moves on, it usually hurts the man more than it hurts the woman when he actually moves on. But a lot of these traumatized men have abandonment issues that the woman never knew about. And now that she's trying to move on, she has this man making threats to her and she never seen this in him. So the first thing I would say to any woman, if a man starts threatening you or giving certain signs of crazy, it's important for you to record the phone calls and document the texts, because if you have a child by this man, it's a possibility that you're not necessarily going to see what type of man he actually is until you actually move on to somebody else. And at that point, if you've already recorded the conversations and documented the text messages, you now have a case that can actually protect you in court, because they'll be able to see how things have slowly gotten worse and worse and worse as time has went by. This is a very serious situation. And this situation with Tyre Nichols is a perfect example of how serious it can get. And I know we talk about how women can be spiteful and not let the man see his kids because he moved on, but at least there's no violence in that. That's wrong, but it usually doesn't affect anybody's safety. When a man has these issues though, things can get to a level where somebody can actually lose their life. That in itself needs to be addressed more on social media. This is something that seems to never get talked about. Guys, if you have a child by a woman and y'all are no longer together, in no way is she your property. You cannot regulate this woman's life. She can do whatever she wants to do. And guess what? Some of the things she does may go against everything you believe in and may negatively affect your child. But the way to deal with this isn't trying to control her. You just fight for custody and get your child away from her. See, that's the thing a lot of men don't want to do. They'll argue with their baby mama and try to get them to do what he wants her to do. But at the end of the day, does he ever fight for custody in court? That is what you have to do. If you don't trust her, if you don't want other men around your child, get custody of your child and you wouldn't have to deal with things like this. But that takes a lot more effort versus just getting on the phone yelling at a woman. But at the end of the day, that isn't going to change anything. Comment below if you dealt with a man that simply didn't want to move on, and at some point you actually started getting fearful of his future actions because either he doesn't want to move on or you've moved on and he's jealous. Comment below.